I gave them everything. Every damn cent, every ounce of my sacrifice. And they used it to feed their greed. For years, I handed over $4,000 every month from my pension, all to secure my grandson Tyler's future. My pension was $5,600 a month, and I sent most of it to my son, Jason, with the understanding it was for Tyler's schooling, his future, something I worked my ass off for. But it wasn't until one afternoon, when I ran into Shirley, my son's mother-in-law, at the store, that the truth came crashing down. My hard-earned money wasn't going toward Tyler's education. No, it was being spent on Jason and Amanda's damn luxury lifestyle. They'd turned my sacrifice into their personal piggy bank. Just last month, Jason bought Shirley a brand new Louis Vuitton handbag. And the gut punch, Tyler was left waiting, day after day, alone after school, with no one to pick him up. Meanwhile, his parents were out living it up with the money I was pouring into their pockets. That was the moment it hit me. I had been living a damn lie. For years. And when I finally decided to stop giving them my money, when I decided to take back what was mine, they didn't see it coming. Did they really think I was that stupid? Did they think I was blind? The autumn sunlight filtered through the windows, casting golden shadows across the floor, but no amount of warmth could touch the ice that had settled in my chest. I had been a fool, but not anymore. I wasn't just a grandmother, a mother who would keep sacrificing. I was done. I stood in that quiet house, the weight of years of lies and betrayal pressing on me like a boulder. For too long, I had given them everything. My time, my money, my love, and what did I get in return? A broken promise, a stolen future. No more. I wasn't going to keep silent anymore. I wasn't going to let them drain me dry, pretending to be helpless when they were living like kings off my back. No, this time I was going to make them see the truth. I picked up the phone, my fingers steady despite the rage boiling in my chest. One call. That's all it took to start the wheels turning. I called my lawyer, and for the first time in years, I didn't hesitate. I wasn't some weak old woman who had to beg for scraps. I had rights, and I would fight for them. The lawyer's voice on the other end was calm, but I could hear the surprise in his tone when I told him what I wanted. It didn't take long before we were setting a meeting to go over the details. Everything I had earned, everything I had sacrificed, my money, wasn't just theirs to take. Later that evening, I sat down at the kitchen table, the same table I had served countless meals at, the same table where I had given my time, my love, my everything. I looked at the clock. It was time to make them face what they had done. They wouldn't get away with it anymore. Just last month, Shirley bragged, Jason had gifted her a new Louis Vuitton handbag, an item I'd never dream of affording. The most shattering revelation, pieced from Shirley's careless words, was that Tyler was often left waiting alone after school, his safety secondary to their whims. In that horrifying clarity, I understood the lie I'd enabled for years. When I finally resolved to reclaim what was mine, their retaliation was swift and vicious. Did they truly think me so easily fooled? That age meant senility, generosity, stupidity. Autumn sunlight, usually a comfort, streamed into our shared home like flecks of fool's gold on the hardwood, failing to warm the ice in my heart. I am Helen Brooks, 68, a retired teacher. My husband died young, leaving me to raise Jason alone. Now, Jason was married to Amanda, whose sweet smile never reached her eyes, and they had Tyler, my grandson, the light in my increasingly shadowed world. The four of us were crammed into the old house my husband and I bought decades ago, a house of memories, now tainted by deceit. 3 generations under one roof sounds heartwarming, only I knew its bitter reality. I'd spent a lifetime teaching. My pension offered modest comfort in the expensive Bay Area. Watching Jason, an engineer, hustle, and Amanda, who'd supposedly quit her job for Tyler, my heart softened, a vulnerability they exploited. Believing young families struggled, I offered to help. From Tyler's birth, I set aside $4,000 monthly. Amanda feigned reluctance, "Oh, Helen, we couldn't. You've done so much." But soon, her acceptance, then expectation, became routine. Each time I handed her the cash, she'd beam. "Helen, treat yourself better. Stop worrying about us." Her smile was poisoned honey, her eyes, shallow, never conveyed gratitude. Over time, the cracks in her facade showed. Amanda was never overtly rude, too cunning. Publicly, she was attentive, bragging about her thoughtful mother-in-law. But it was surface, a fragile porcelain glaze. One tap, it would shatter. She never asked about my health, never truly talked to me. Even when I was down, she'd offer a token word and move on. An invisible glass wall stood between us. My balcony orchid bloomed with little care. My sacrifices yielded only cold, calculated performances. At night, staring at city lights, a heavy sadness pressed on me. I told myself I was overthinking. Young people had their lives. If Jason was well, Tyler happy, did my loneliness matter? Blood isn't automatic love. No matter how much I gave, it might never forge real closeness. So I swallowed the hurt. Days passed, colorless. My life revolved around Tyler, bright and lively. Since preschool, pickups and drop-offs fell to me. Amanda was busy with housework. Jason, they said, was drowning in work. Fine. Picking Tyler up, watching him race to me. "Grandma." That alone made it worth it. Every afternoon at 3, I waited at the school gate. When Tyler hugged me, frustrations melted. His tuition, classes, clothes, toys. I paid for nearly all. Amanda would sigh dramatically about financial strain. "Mom," she'd frown, "Tyler's piano classes are due, and he needs new paints." I'd pull out my checkbook. "Don't worry, we can't cut corners on his education." All I cared about was Tyler's future. I felt for Jason, shouldering a family's burdens. Taking care of them became my purpose. Sometimes, seeing Amanda with new clothes or cosmetics bought with my money stung. But I reasoned, if it made her happy, perhaps the household would be cheerier. A grandparent's love is giving. But when it's expected as a right, love sours. I believed my sacrifices could hold the family together, shield Tyler. I was devastatingly wrong. It shattered one ordinary weekend. The sun was bright. I went to the mall for Tyler's shoes. Browsing, a sharp, familiar voice caught my ear. Shirley Davis, Amanda's mother, holding court. Decked in a flashy dress and gold necklace, she was oblivious. "Lily, you won't believe it. My Amanda hit the jackpot. Her mother-in-law's a fool. Easy to trick. Hands them $4,000 a month for the kids' schooling. Who buys that?" The sound of Shirley's laugh was grating, like a blade cutting through my very soul. It echoed in my ears long after she stopped speaking, and I could still hear it in my mind like a haunting refrain. And that $4,000, they blow it however they want. Last month, Jason got me an LV purse. This month, Amanda's eyeing a mink vest. I told her, "Girl, enjoy yourself. What's the old lady gonna do? Take it to her grave?" Her voice twisted with an ugly, bitter kind of humor, each word a cruel reminder of how much I'd been taken for granted. An LV purse. A mink vest. I had spent my life scraping and saving, pinching pennies, all to ensure Tyler would have a future. I had thought I was doing the right thing, setting money aside for him, giving him the best I could. But to them, I was nothing more than a gullible, endless source of cash. They saw me as a tool, a cash cow to be milked at their convenience. The weight of the realization hit me like a ton of bricks. I stumbled backward, feeling a small, cold object press against my fingers. A tiny shoe, one that had probably belonged to Tyler when he was younger. My knees buckled, and I had to catch myself on a nearby counter to keep from collapsing. "So that's what I am to them. An easy mark," I whispered aloud, the words tasting like bile in my mouth. I don't remember leaving the mall after that moment. My legs moved on autopilot, carrying me through the fluorescent-lit hallways, past all the glitzy storefronts I had once admired. now mocking me for my naivete. Shirley's voice lingered like a foul stench, clinging to the air. I could feel my heart sinking lower and lower with each step, my hands trembling uncontrollably. How could I have been so blind? The drive home felt like a blur, a slow crawl of time in which I couldn't escape the gnawing feeling of betrayal. I don't even remember pulling into the driveway. Everything felt distant, foggy, unreal. When I entered the house, I collapsed onto the couch, my body racked with exhaustion, numbness, and an overwhelming sadness. The life I had worked so hard to build, filled with love, integrity, and sacrifice, had been nothing but a punchline in their world. The mirror in the hallway greeted me as I passed, and I stopped, staring at my reflection. The face looking back at me was a stranger's, deeply lined, eyes tired and haunted, skin sagging under the weight of years. I had spent so many years believing I was doing the right thing, pouring my energy into supporting my son and his family. And yet, this is what I had earned: ridicule, disrespect, a sense of worthlessness that gnawed at my core. I had been a joke to them, and worse, they didn't even seem to care. How could they not see what they had done to me? How had I allowed it to go on for so long? But as the silence of the house settled around me, something deep inside me snapped. I wasn't done. I wasn't going to let this be the end. I had given too much of myself to let them continue to walk all over me, to let them believe they could take what they wanted without facing any consequences. This wasn't just about money. This was about dignity, about respect, and about reclaiming what was rightfully mine. I calmed myself down, wiped away the last of the tears, and began to think. If I wanted to make sure this didn't happen again, I needed proof. I needed evidence of everything they had done behind my back, all the lies, all the spending they had hidden from me. I needed to show them what they had done and finally make them face the truth. For the next few days, I pretended nothing had happened. I cooked, cleaned, and went about my usual routine. But beneath the surface, a quiet storm was brewing. My eyes were sharper now. I started watching Amanda and Jason with a kind of patient observation I had never used before. I wasn't going to be played again. Not like this. Every day, Amanda was on her phone, smirking and tapping away, as though nothing mattered in the world. The delivery boxes stacked up, boxes that weren't filled with ordinary things. These weren't the everyday purchases of a modest, struggling family. These were luxury skincare products, designer clothes, high-end handbags. She'd carry that damn LV bag everywhere she went, as though she couldn't stand the thought of anyone not knowing how much it cost. I watched her carefully, taking mental notes of every little detail. It was obvious now that all of this wasn't coming from their modest, supposed income. There was no way they could afford it. I knew what I had given them, and it wasn't even close to enough to explain all the extravagant purchases. But they thought I was too stupid to notice. They thought I was a fool. I couldn't stand the thought of it any longer. I had spent my life making sure they had everything they needed, scrimping and saving, sacrificing my own comfort for theirs, all the while they were living in a different reality, and I had been too blinded by my love for them to see it. So I started to make my plans. I began to track every purchase Amanda made, every delivery box that arrived at the house. I started writing it all down, the price tags, the brands, the dates, everything. I knew it wouldn't be long before I had everything I needed. It was time to turn the tables. Days turned into weeks as I gathered my evidence. I kept track of every inconsistency, every lie, and every bit of information that could prove they had been using me. The more I collected, the more my anger fueled me. I wasn't just going to confront them. I was going to make them pay for what they'd done. And then it came, the perfect opportunity. One afternoon, as Jason sat on the couch scrolling through his phone, Amanda walked into the room, casually tossing her new designer handbag onto the coffee table. I hadn't seen the bag before, and I knew she hadn't bought it recently. It had all the hallmarks of a high-end item, the intricate stitching, the logo, the sleek design, and the price tag, I could feel the anger bubbling up inside me, but I kept it in check. I walked over to the coffee table, picked up the bag, and turned it over in my hands. "Nice bag," I said, my voice flat. "Where'd you get it?" Amanda looked up from her phone, her eyes widening slightly before she caught herself. "Oh, it's just something I picked up recently. I saw it and thought it would be perfect for work." I raised an eyebrow, not buying it for a second. "Really? And how exactly are you affording all these perfect things? I thought you and Jason were struggling just to get by." Her face flushed, but she quickly recovered, a thin smile playing on her lips. "We make it work, Mom. You don't need to worry about that." I set the bag back on the table, my hand steady despite the fury simmering inside me. "Oh, I don't need to worry, huh? Well, I've been worrying about a lot of things lately, like how I've been footing the bill for everything, while you and Jason have been living like royalty. You really think I wouldn't notice?" The air between us grew tense, thick with unspoken truths. Amanda opened her mouth to speak, but I held up my hand. "No, don't bother. I've seen enough. You've been taking advantage of me for years, and it ends now." Jason stood up, his face turning pale. "What are you talking about?" I pulled out the notebook where I'd been keeping track of everything, every expensive purchase, every lie they'd told. I slammed it down on the table. "This is what I'm talking about. Your spending habits are out of control, and I'm done enabling you." Amanda looked at me, her expression shifting from disbelief to anger. "You have no right to—" "Oh, I do," I interrupted, my voice steady and final. "I've been more than patient with you two, but now I'm taking control back. You don't get to use me anymore. Not for your luxuries, not for your comfort." Jason didn't say anything. He just stood there, his hand shaking slightly. Amanda looked between us, her face reddening with rage. "I'm going to make sure you never get a cent from me again," I said, my words clear and unwavering. "And I'm done being the fool." I turned on my heel and walked out of the room, feeling a strange sense of liberation wash over me. I had finally reclaimed my life, my dignity, and my future. They could live with their choices, but I was done with being a part of their deceitful, manipulative world. And I would never go back. Previously, I'd have rationalized it. Now, after Shirley's words, every indulgence burned. She spent recklessly, shamelessly. Hope crumbled. Rage grew, but I clenched my teeth. No sudden moves. I'd get undeniable evidence. "Old doesn't mean stupid," I thought coldly. "It means we've been too patient. If you tear off the mask first, don't blame this old lady for fighting back without mercy." Thinking of Tyler, new anger surged. Amanda claimed to stay home for him. Shirley's words proved otherwise. Picking him up, paying tuition, all me. What was Amanda doing? Where was the $4,000 going? Did she care for Tyler's safety? I had to see for myself. That evening, I told Amanda I had an appointment next day. Couldn't pick Tyler up. She agreed quickly. Next afternoon, I left early, found a hidden spot near Tyler's school. Class dismissed at 3 shatters. Kids poured out. My heart pounded. I spotted Tyler, blue backpack, alone at the gate. Parents came, went. Tyler craned his neck, face full of disappointment. I stayed hidden. 5, 10, 15 minutes. Tyler was the only child left. The security guard spoke to him. Tyler shook his head, shouldered his backpack, and began walking home alone. My heart leaped. Not even 7. Tiny, vulnerable, on busy streets. I rushed after him. "Tyler!" He turned, eyes lighting up, then fading. "Grandma, what took you so long?" I knelt, ruffled his hair. "Sorry, sweetheart. Got held up. Didn't Mum say she'd pick you up?" He tilted his head. "Mum said she had to go get pretty, told me to be careful. Said you gave her money for beauty treatments, so she can make lots of money when she's prettier." Beauty treatments? I froze. Amanda took my money not just for luxuries, but for salons, feeding Tyler this garbage. My voice was tight. "So you plan to walk home alone?" He nodded proudly. "Uh-huh. Mom said I'm a big boy now. Said the teacher taught us to watch stoplights, not talk to strangers. I remembered. He puffed his chest, awaiting praise. My heart shattered. Such a small child, sent off alone. Amanda hadn't thought twice. Anger, heartbreak, sorrow roared. I'd believed, even if vain, she'd love her child. Reality slapped me. If only stolen money, I might forgive. But risking Tyler's life? Unforgivable. You can scam me, I thought, but not gamble with a child's safety. 40 years teaching, I couldn't stand adults shirking responsibility to protect children. My decision was made. This charade would end. I held Tyler's cold hand, walking home. The setting sun stretched our shadows. The chill inside me was colder than autumn air. At home, Amanda sprawled on the couch, face masked, scrolling her phone. She glanced up, startled, then slouched. "Helen, why so late?" she asked indifferently. I helped Tyler, then faced her. "Amanda, I picked Tyler up from school today." She froze. "Oh, did you?" she stammered. "I wasn't feeling well." "Not well," I repeated, a cold smile. "Or too exhausted after getting pretty at the salon." She shot up, mask tearing. "You're lying, I didn't go," she shrieked. I met her gaze. "Tyler told me everything. You go daily. Today was no different. You told him to walk home alone for your treatments." I paused. "Amanda, you took money from my grandson's future for pampering. Worse, you abandoned your child. Does your conscience not ache?" My accusations hit. Rage twisted her face. She leapt at me. "None of your damn business, you're a freeloading old hag." She jabbed a finger. "So what if I spend your money? Your useless son's fault. If he could support his family, you wouldn't be needed." Disgust filled me. All my sacrifices, worthless. My voice was iron. "Since you see it that way, hear this. Starting next month, not 1 cent. Her little games were laughably small. My coldness hit harder than shouts. Amanda, stunned, then berserk. "What? No more money? Helen Brooks, if you won't pay, get out of this house. We're not keeping dead weight." I straightened. "Amanda, maybe you forgot." Each word a blade. "The deed to this house has my name, and my late husband's. This is my house. You have no right to tell me to leave." Ice water. Her bravado collapsed. She'd never thought this old woman held true power. "Before you throw people out, check who owns the ground you stand on," I thought grimly. The door creaked. Jason entered, drained. Amanda threw herself into his arms, sobbing theatrically. "Jason, your mother's gone crazy. Cutting us off. Wants to throw me out." He froze, looking between us. "Mom, what's going on?" he pleaded. Coldness spread. I bit my cheek, then calmly told him everything. Amanda's wastefulness, leaving Tyler alone. Every unforgiving detail. If fairness remained in him, he needed to see. He stood silent, face twisted. Glanced at me, then Amanda's threatening glare. He sighed, broken. "Mom, I know you've done so much, but Amanda, she didn't mean harm. Maybe a mistake. Could you let it go?" He begged, "Please, Mom, keep helping us. For Tyler's sake. For peace." Peace? Using my money, dignity, for a family built on lies. I stared at his defeated face, heart splintering. Pity, rage. I raised a son, I thought bitterly, and failed to teach him to stand like a man. I closed my eyes, exhausted. Next morning, furious doorbell ringing. Shirley Davis barged in, dragging Leonard. "Helen Brooks, you old hag. Think Amanda has no backup. Dare cut off her money. We'll make sure she divorces Jason. Take Tyler too." Her voice, shrill. Leonard hovered. Amanda stood smugly. An icy calm settled over me. I leaned against the doorframe, watching, a mocking smile. My hand slid to my pocket, pressed record. Perfect. Preserve every disgraceful word. "Divorce? Take Tyler," I repeated flatly. "Shirley, kidnapping is a crime." She stumbled, then shrieked louder. Crime, please. We'll say you abused my daughter, grandson, destroy your reputation, ruin you. Abuse. Such cheap accusations. I let the phone record. Shirley stomped. 3 days, Helen. Hand over the money. Or don't blame us. She glared, stormed out with Amanda smirking. Jason stood pale, then slunk to his room. I was alone. Amanda's petty revenge began. No cleaning, trash piled up. When I cooked, she'd dump it. Wow, still have money for groceries? Thought you were broke. I didn't beg, didn't break. Washed my own dishes, shopped alone, cooked for myself, kept to my room, secretly packed. My pension, enough for a small apartment, for dignity. Between money and family, I thought, only one is reliable. This war, I'd see it through. Amanda escalated, spreading rumors. I was mentally unstable, abused Tyler, hoarded money. Neighbors avoided me. Whispers followed. Isolation cut deep. My reputation, shattered. Hurt. Angry. Yes. But I wouldn't waste breath on those who'd decided. They thought they could wear me down. Wrong. I sought my trusted colleague, Susan Carter. Well-connected, sharp. I told her about Amanda's disappearances, asked her to watch. Rumors die before wisdom, I thought. Sadly, wisdom is rare. Soon, Susan appeared with a manila folder. Helen, I got things. Brace yourself. Photos slipped out. Amanda at the gym, too close to a young trainer, smile flirtatious. In a coffee shop draped over him, side by side, entering a high-end apartment. Vision darkened. Hands trembled. She wasn't just squandering money. She was cheating. Fury, humiliation, heartbreak crashed over me. Can you get more? I whispered. Financial records, gym logs. Susan nodded. In progress. Thank you, Susan. This time I won't back down. Locked in my room, I knew blind rage solved nothing. Amanda showed her teeth. Now, my turn. I called Karen Lewis, retired attorney Susan recommended. Laid out the situation. Karen was brisk. Helen, economic exploitation, child endangerment, infidelity, grounds to fight. With proof, you can push for divorce, property division, custody. My voice steady. I want them to pay. Keep collecting evidence, Karen said, especially Tyler's school safety. Crucial. Outwardly, life looked the same. Cooked, picked up Tyler, smiled. Behind scenes, built my case. Tyler's school records, bank statements, Susan's intel, every document, a stone in a wall they couldn't tear down. Patient, thorough. This time, Amanda, Shirley, their lies would crash. Amanda lounged. Mom, that coat is gorgeous. Old hag's cash cow dried up. Jason better work harder. Her sneer. I walked past, recorder on. Opportunities every moment. Organized evidence, gym photos, financial records, late pickup records, voice recordings, photos of household neglect. Karen warned, emotional neglect, financial control are powerful in court. I missed nothing. Jason had barely set foot inside the door when I heard him call out my name, his voice tentative. Mom. His footsteps were hesitant, like he was uncertain whether to approach or leave. I stood by the kitchen counter, wiping my hands on a dish towel. Amanda's stressed, he continued, his voice softer this time, almost pleading. Try not to take it to heart. I paused, glancing over my shoulder at him. There it was, that familiar strain in his voice, the one that had always made me want to reach out and comfort him. But this time, I only nodded and smiled gently, a smile I had learned to wear for the sake of peace. I'm fine, Jason. Don't worry about me. He stood there for a moment as though he were waiting for me to say something else, but I said nothing. With a deep breath, he finally retreated, looking both relieved and disappointed at the same time. I felt a pang in my chest, a bitter twist. He could feel something wrong, I knew that, but he was still protecting her, protecting Amanda, but it wouldn't last forever. I knew that too. The weekend rolled around, and I found myself planning something that, in hindsight, had been brewing for months. Tyler's birthday's coming up, I suggested to Jason one evening. Why don't we have a family get-together? Maybe invite your parents? Amanda's response was indifferent, just as I expected. Sure, whatever, she muttered, not even lifting her eyes from her phone. But I saw it. She was pretending everything was fine. This was my opening, my stage for what I knew had to be done. I invited Susan and Karen under the pretense of having them take photos. They agreed without suspicion. But I was always 2 steps ahead, always calculating. The real hunter never fires first, and this was going to be my shot. Tyler's birthday arrived, a perfect day with clear skies. The house smelled of fresh bread and roasting meat, the kind of comforting, homey sense that made you feel like everything was right in the world. But I knew better. Nothing was right. I had been waiting for this day for so long, waiting for the right moment to pull back the curtain on all the lies. Susan arrived first, her camera ready, her eyes gleaming with anticipation, knowing something was about to unfold. Karen followed closely behind, gift in hand, her presence like a shadow lurking in the background. Then came Amanda and Shirley, the sound of their heels clacking on the hardwood floor echoing through the house. I greeted them all with a smile that didn't quite reach my eyes. Shirley, always the sharp one, wasted no time. Well, Helen, cook something decent, huh? Feeling generous? She eyed the spread with an almost judgmental air, as if expecting something better. Amanda snickered under her breath, clearly amused by her mother's rudeness. I smiled serenely, keeping my tone calm, even. Tyler's birthday, Shirley. Let's enjoy the day. Shirley huffed, but I paid her no mind. Amanda, however, couldn't resist adding her own twist. Honey, Mum says the birthday gift has to be extravagant. This new kid's electric car, super expensive. Helen won't be stingy, will she? She shot a pointed glance at Jason. Jason stiffened, his hand pausing mid-reach for his wine glass. It's fine, he muttered, almost as though he was ashamed. But the words came out silent and resigned. I watched him, feeling the bitterness rise like bile in my throat. I had spent years being patient, being the one to give and give. I had raised them, loved them, and all I had ever asked for was respect and consideration in return. Now, here I was, a woman scorned by her own blood. I said nothing in that moment, choosing to watch them, to let their words linger in the air between us like poison. This was the culmination. The moment had finally arrived. Susan's camera clicked, capturing the facade of a perfect family. The song of happy birthday rang through the house, the hollow cheer of voices filled with forced joy. Tyler, his small face illuminated by the candlelight, beamed with excitement. He made his wish, cut the cake, and I watched, numb, as the family went through the motions. But I wasn't here for cake or gifts. I wasn't here for any of it. I sat quietly, my hand steady as I reached for the small box I had placed under the table earlier. I opened it slowly, deliberately. Everyone paused as I pulled out the bank transfer records, the receipts of my generosity that had been systematically drained, the money that I had thought was going toward Tyler's future, and not into Amanda's designer handbags. I placed them on the table with a soft thud. These, I began, my voice calm and cold, are my bank transfer records. Every month, $4,000 sent to Amanda for Tyler's education. Amanda's face froze for a second, but she quickly recovered, her smirk returning. Mom, kids aren't cheap. That barely covers anything, she said, her voice dripping with dismissive arrogance. Shirley, ever the accomplice, chimed in. Barely scratched the surface. I nodded slowly. You're right. So I checked where it went. I spread the receipts across the table, each one a testament to my sacrifice, each one a reminder of how they had taken my love and turned it into something they could squander. Gym memberships, personal trainer receipts, designer clothes, high-end skincare products. It was all there, documented in black and white. The room fell into a heavy silence. Jason's face drained of color. Amanda's eyes, once filled with arrogance, now widened with shock, and Shirley, for once, had nothing to say. I leaned back in my chair, letting the silence settle around us. "This is what you've been doing with the money I gave you for Tyler's future?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Amanda's composure cracked, and I could see the walls she had built around herself starting to crumble. "Mom, She started, but the words caught in her throat. I cut her off. "You have no excuse, Amanda. No excuse for this." David's voice, small and uncertain, finally broke the silence. "Mom, I didn't know about this." He looked down, his face flushed with guilt. "I swear, I didn't know." "Doesn't matter," I said, standing up. "You should have known. You should have cared." I turned to face Amanda and Shirley. "I'm done. I've given you everything I had. And you took it. You used me. But I'm done. Elite gym, private training, luxury retreats. Amanda, educational expenses for Tyler." She shot up. "You're making things up. Jason gave me that money." Jason's head jerked. I pulled out photos. Amanda and trainer, cozy, laughing, entering apartments. Susan zoomed in. "Want to hear something else?" I clicked play. Amanda's voice. "Don't worry, baby. Old hag's clueless. Thinks I'm babysitting." Then Shirley. "Milk her dry, honey. Better we spend it than let stranger enjoy it when she croaks." Jason, ghost white. Stared at Amanda like a stranger. Amanda panicked. "Jason, she's lying. Set me up." "Enough, Amanda." Jason shoved her. She stumbled. Shirley shrieked, "Helen Brooks. Vile old woman. How dare you set up my daughter? Poison their marriage." I lifted my head, gaze calm. "Shirley, every photo, recording, receipt, all fact. If this family is torn apart, it was by your hands, not mine." Shirley, crimson jabbed finger. "You'll die alone, miserable hag. Jason will never forgive you." Amanda shrieked, "Exactly. Always hated me." I turned to Jason, his face exhaustion and grief. "Jason, from this day I no longer fund these parasites, no longer sacrifice for illusion of peace. My pension, house, future belong to me." He looked at Amanda, then me, closed his eyes, opened them with grim resolve. "Mom, I understand." Turned to Amanda. No love left, only cold disappointment. "Amanda, I want a divorce." Hammer blow. Amanda shrieked, "No, you can't. Divorce me. You'll never see Tyler again." Jason's eyes closed briefly. "I'll fight for custody. As for you," icy finality, "face the consequences." Amanda lunged, sobbing. Shirley screeched. Chaos. I stood silent. Susan captured it. Karen jotted notes. I gathered documents. "This is the harvest of seeds you planted," scooped Tyler. "Don't be afraid. Grandma's here." He tucked into my embrace. Walked away from wreckage. Behind, their howls. Jason's broken breaths. Susan's camera clicks. Every mask shattered. Tension stretched. Amanda and Shirley panicked. Their tantrums failed. I cut off support, changed locks. House legally mine. Ignored shouts, rumors. Contacted Karen. Jason, silent, sorted divorce papers. How did it come to this? Tyler? Such a fool. Amanda threw tantrums, smashed things. Showed up at Jason's office, causing scenes. Shirley prowled, spinning lies. Unbeknownst to them, I'd contacted school, social workers. Tyler's lack of supervision documented. Submitted all evidence, spending, school reports, affair proof. Jason filed for divorce, primary custody. Court summoned them. Amanda and Shirley, enraged, pinned by irrefutable proof. First hearing, I accompanied Jason. Amanda, gaudy, hysterical. Shirley, enraged. Jason, pale but resolute. rose to speak. Your Honor, I failed to defend my marriage, but will not allow my mother's money to fund someone who lied, betrayed, endangered our child. Requesting full custody, rightful claim to assets. Amanda tried to interrupt, yanked down by her lawyer. I watched, aching, yet relieved. Jason stood up. Way home, Jason stopped. Mum, barely a whisper. Autumn light on his face, lines of exhaustion, new strength. All these years, thought if I tolerated everything, we could stay together. Wrong. You taught me respect doesn't come from surrender. I placed hand on his shoulder. It's all right, Jason. You face truth, never too late. Sky filtered sunlight. Something tight inside me loosened, began to breathe. Final verdict day, sky clear. Sat in courtroom. Judge read decision. Jason, primary custody. Amanda, stripped of rights, ordered to pay compensation. Me, full ownership of home. Amanda, pale, opened mouth to protest, lawyer silent. Gavel struck. Amanda collapsed, tear-streaked. Shirley shrieked, vowing appeals. No one listened. Neighbors turned from her. Returned home, Shirley pleaded with neighbors. It's her, ganged up on us. They offered awkward smiles, pulled away. Whispers. Her daughter caught cheating, stealing. Shirley, enraged, a foul-mouthed tirade. I walked past, without a glance. Amanda received court notice. Vacate property in 15 days, leave with nothing. Shirley scrambled, tried emotional favors. Karen had locked every loophole. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, now get out. Karen's final message. Amanda moved out, struggling with suitcases, slamming door. Shirley trailed, swearing, sobbing. I watched, sunlight on my hands, warm. Nightmare ended. Evening, Jason and Tyler for dinner. Tyler chattered happily. Jason, quiet, eyes heavy with guilt, gratitude. Mom, thank you. I shook my head. No need. You found your way out. Courage was yours. Night unfurled, lifted my tea, finally understood. Dignity in old age isn't given, not bought by sacrifice, reclaimed piece by standing your ground, holding your head high.